Jai Shri Gurudev, Jai Bharat Baba, Jai Mahakali. Welcome everybody to another video. I was thinking of doing this, dropping a video many days ago, but I was busy with my own practices for Diwali, work and so on. But as they say, better late than never. So let's go. I hope everybody had a good Diwali. You used different nights before and after Diwali to get close to the energies, used your own little practices to build more awareness and bring those good energies into your life. If not, let's begin. Better late than never. So today's video is going to be about mantra, yantra and tantra at a very foundational level, because this whole thing is channels about opening the first door for beginners who are confused, who doesn't know what to do, because there's a lot of information out there. So from my own experiences and so on, I'm trying to shed a tiny light into helping whoever is looking for assistance or guidance. You're hearing this out of divine grace and my Guruji's blessing. So I hope that this is helpful. So few people have asked me about what mantra to chant, different shastras. Then somebody has asked about Guhya Kali and so on. The thing is, you need to learn how to take your first baby steps before doing the sprint or a marathon. Like when you were 1 year old, 2 year old, before taking your baby steps, you're crawling on the floor. And then if somebody says, do you believe in yourself? I know how to run. I will teach you how to run. Just run. It's impossible physically for you to do it. Consider yourself infants. Most of us are infants towards this path. And it's unrealistic for you to expect to understand any of those topics or do those particular practices. You have to be realistic with yourself. This path is not just about faith. Faith is just a blind belief, most of the cases, blind belief, hit or miss. But following Tantra as a beginner is knowing that these particular steps and processes are built over thousands of years by Mahasiddhas who are actually telling you, perhaps do this, this and this order, and you will get somewhere. It's a GPS map. Okay? It is not just blind belief and then hoping there's a God and so on. Tantra guarantees you, if you have the right guru and the right elements in place, that the result will happen, result will come. This is a particular step and process. That's what Tantra is. Now let's go to on the topic of mantra. A lot of people are too eager, and the beginning eagerness to do a mantra and just jump into it and hope everything works fine. We all have been electrocuted, right? Whether that's an ironing board, a ironing machine, or a car charger, a phone charger, or the tiny kind of electricity current that we get. Compare that to going and touching a substation transformer that generates electricity for the whole city. That is my Mahakali. That substation transformer is my Mahakali. The substation, the transformer doesn't differentiate between who's right and who's good and who's wrong. Are you eligible or not? If you go try and touch it, you will be shred to bits and into pieces, right? Compared to a tiny electric shock. We need to start getting tiny shocks to build ourselves to that level. That is basically what sadhana is. Sadhana is bringing, or a spiritual practice is bringing the mantra and yantra together with the tantra, the processes to elevate yourself. Now, Tantra says there are 3 types of people. One is the Pashu, one is the human who's risen above the Pashu, the animal, and then one is divine soul. Pashu is most people, right? And there's nothing wrong in it, but they are. What is the differentiating between an animal and a human being? General human being is the intellect. We all have the same senses. Like a dog is dominated by the sense of smell, and everything it does is about with the sense of smell. Then it wants to eat, procreate, have fun, and so on. Most people are at that level. Now, what happens when you start opening the door of spiritual practice is that you slowly elevate slightly, little by little, elevate above the five senses, your mind basically. You start building awareness. So that is what the mantra is, basically the fuel in your F1 car. We are all, if you're a healthy human being, you are an F1 car, a fighter jet. We have the ingredients, but we need the fuel. That is a mantra. when you existed at that Pashu level, and that's not said in a condescending way, it just means that you exist with your five senses, the touch, taste, smell, all of that stuff, sight. So you are running your life, you're feeling things based on those five senses. Most people's problems and worries and things that they do is based on 3 inches, the tongue. The 3 inches of our tongue dominates their life. It's about taste, smell, all of that stuff. So when you start your spiritual practice, you slowly elevate and slowly start disconnecting from it. And that's basically activating yourself. So that's the mantra. Don't go around asking for mantras, especially Bij mantras. Don't go looking for gurus if you're starting your path. You are your own guru, first of all. You have to start doing the workouts to go to a coach and get maximum benefits from that coach. I've said this in other videos. You have to be capable enough to get a capable guru as well, right? You have to do multiple sadhanas or anushtanas or practice spiritual discipline in a certain way for a couple of months sometimes, maybe more, to build your foundation to that level. Don't run around looking for a guru, asking for things, and don't learn too much stuff. Now, this is counter to what most people say. Don't read too much. Reading about a push-up and doing the push-up for a few weeks and then reading about push-up is two different things, right? It's like when we were kids, when we were looking at our father's book or teacher's book or our elder brother sisters' 9th grade textbook of chemistry. We might even understand the language, but the context we don't understand. So this is what's happening online on these people who are pretending to be experts, is that they read this stuff with their mind and they try to regurgitate that to people, passing as spiritual knowledge. It's not. Unless somebody is in the life, unless somebody is doing intense practices, and how do you know that? By the way they speak, you will understand. Unless somebody is doing intense practices of them, or intense spiritual practices, and then reading the book, don't go looking for advice, because you're going to get the same thing, and then you'll end up saying all gurus are fake, all people are fake, and so on. That's because it's your mistake. You tried to have a fat loss tablet, the weight loss tablet, without doing the exercise. That's what this is. You have to start the practice, understand the basics of how to do achaman, how to chant certain mantras, what's the frequency you should chant, how many times. Those are basics that everybody needs to know. Go find that out, the most basic thing, and go do the practice for a few weeks and months, and then see where you stand in it. Try the diet before you decide that's your lifestyle. Does that make sense? It is not just faith, by the way, and that is why it's called Sanatana Dharma, ever-existing Dharma. That's because it is not just based on faith. Tantra is built on the foundation saying that the three combinations, the mantra, the yantra, and the process, which is the tantra, the practice, combined together under the guidance of a right guru, you're going to open up so many things, right? You're going to open up so many doors, which is what the Kundalini is all about. The energy is rising. It is not just chakras. Now I'll get to that one for a second. So you bring those things together as a practice, and then you slowly move forward. The only two ingredients you need in the beginning are only two things. One is an actual curiosity to find out what's next. How can I proceed? How can I get better? Second is basically a discipline, a consistency, right? I'm going to do this many minutes every day with this intention. If you combine those two, then it's up to Ma which door she will open, right? Then your karmas and everything comes into play. But you're better practicing something than not practicing and just listening and reading about it. Reading too much, listening to too many people is going to confuse you. Just like Sri Krishna told Arjuna, you're thinking with your brain. At some time you have to rise above the shastras and experience this yourself. You know too much. What he's trying to say, that today's world with information overload, we know too much stuff. We think too much, and we take anybody as a guru, whatever mantra. For example, you cannot get Durga mantra from a guy or from a guru even who is doing some other sadhana, right? Go to the person who's doing that intense sadhana of that particular deity energy to get some information from them. Don't just go to the generalist. Okay, don't do that. And the first guru, the first person you need to talk to is yourself. All practice is internal, which takes me to the next point, yantra. Yantra is, you must have seen, most of you know, Sri Yantra, Mahameru Yantra, all of that is an external representation of Devi's energy, but is also an external representation of your energy. The Kundalini, the different chakras, there are hundreds of chakras, not just 6, is a representation. What they're trying to say is, you are the yantra, not an external device. You are the yantra that needs to be activated. You are the fighter jet that needs the fuel, which is the mantra, to activate energy centers within you. And then most cases, we don't need to think about different chakras. That is a Western concept. We will say this mantra will activate. It's not, it doesn't work. Kundalini can only be risen through intense monthly practices under guidance of a strong guru, one-on-one. He sits with you, he goes through the practice, because it is nerve-wracking because you're redesigning your whole nervous system. It is not an online thing, it's not a group course. Kundalini, this is a Western concept. You cannot activate your Kundalini in any real way by doing that. That's another topic. So on the topic of yantra, this is the most important part of this. Our body is a yantra. We understand that now, because our bodies have energy centers. Now, there are 3 gunas, right? The sattvic, rajasic, tamasic gunas. And then there are a lot of things said online that to advance spiritually, you have to fast, you have to stop eating onion, garlic, non-vegetarian food, brahmacharyam, you have to do this, you have to do that, and so on. At the essence, it does make sense, right? If you are a person who's eating a lot of animal products, then you're dependent on those animal products for your sensory pleasure. Because you can kind of eat, let's say you eat a lot of chicken, right? You can kind of substitute that with a bit of paneer and dal, lentils, and try to change that diet, make it less spicy and so on. You can slowly pull it back. But in both cases, your stomach is getting filled, right? Whatever you eat, your stomach is getting filled. It is the differentiation of what that does to your sensory units, your tongue, your mind, after you consume it, that makes all the difference. And that is what this is all about. In the beginning, you have to tune into your sattvic energies, sattvic state of mind. Why? Because most people are in the rajasic, tamasic state of mind. Tamasic is more aggression, anger, ego, and so on. Rajasic is also similar. It's a toned down version of tamasic version, but where you are thinking a lot about yourself in the rajasic form, and you are very materially focused. And that none of those things are wrong. We are going to oscillate between all the 3 in today's world, and that's fine. We have to oscillate. But the balance is where it comes into play. And the practices of taking a fast, the practices of brahmacharya, the practices of spiritual practice in the beginning, first few years, is to elevate yourself to a neutral state. That neutral state is a sattvic state. Unless your mind is clear and calm like a river, the calm like a pond, not like a river, you cannot comprehend the shastras, you cannot comprehend the mantras, you cannot elevate yourself to the next level. So there is no skipping that stuff. Now in Tantra, there's obviously the left-hand path, Vamachara and so on, where you use the Panchamakaras, alcohol, physical contact, sex, and all those things to elevate. But they don't just jump into the Vamachara. People think they just start drinking alcohol and it's Vama. No, it's not. First, you have to go through the purification process. First, you have to do Dakshinachara practice. First, you have to do the Vedic mantras, Vedic sadhanas. 2, after a certain point, when your body is neutral, when your mind is neutral, mind is quieter, you go to the next level. People think it's just skipping step. There is no skipping step. There are no skipping steps to lifting 200 kilos or 100 kilos. There is none. You have to go through the process exactly the same, like anything in life. This is not different. This is not just faith. Tantra clearly says, I think I already said this, there are certain practices using mantras and yantras which will open certain doors. That's what this is all about. Now you have to do a self-study. Just having a mantra and muscling yourself into a spiritual practice, in the beginning it might be good, but you will not stay there consistent. You have to be realistic. Where is my weak point? What is my rajasic, tamasic, vritti, meaning your inclination? If you're somebody who likes to play a lot of games, right? Inherently, like in Shakti sadhana, Ma Kali is Trigunatmika. She's above the three gunas. She gives the three gunas to the Tridev. What does that mean? You have to ask yourself, what does that mean? To Ma, Rajasic, Sattvic, Tamasic has no differentiation. To Ma, it doesn't matter whether you are giving meat, eating meat, or drinking alcohol. It doesn't matter because she's above all that. And what we are trying to do is that we are trying to rise above it. So Tantra says it is not bad that you drink alcohol. It is not bad that you play games or are interested in sexual procreation. It is not bad. But the imbalance of that is what makes it bad. Because it's not inherently bad, but you are more inclined to doing it and you forget what you're supposed to do, which is the sadhana. So it pulls you in the opposite direction. So what you need to do is bring in balance. To bring in balance, you need to, and it's a tricky, very tricky thing in the beginning. And to bring the balance, you have to first investigate yourself. Where is my mind always going to? Where is my mind always? There's always one topic or one thing the mind is always going to. For men, it might be a particular thing. For women, you have to list out one or two or three of those things and try to see what is a common theme. Think yourself. Use your own brain. This is called awareness. This is a beginning of awareness. It's not just sitting in sadhana and suddenly this light bulb moment and you just kundalini right. It doesn't work like that. It takes years of practice. The great master Sri Rama Paramahams, Sri Krishna Paramahams did more than 10 years of practice to get to a certain level. I mean, he was already a siddha, that's different. But all of them had to elevate from the human basic needs and rise above. And that is not a pie in the sky concept. It is rising above your senses. If you, for example, you feel like you want to eat chicken, whatever, for example, and you were not, and you said, you know what, today I'm not going to eat chicken, I'm going to eat this. That already raises you above your basic need, because your mind is going to throw you things like, I want this, I want to eat that, I want to do this. But you say, it's fine, I kind of like it too, but not today. Like you want to go to work, you want to go to gym, but I say, I don't want to do it today. But you say, no, I understand, I'm tired, but let me just do 20 minutes today. Let me just go to 20 minutes. And let's do it for 2 days, and I still feel it, I will do it. That is when you rise above, and then you go and do it. It's okay, after 2-3 days. But start reining in your mind, pulling your mind in slowly towards your control. This is what sadhana is, and you align all those three things. So now one thing is above the other. All of that has to be combined. You have to see, analyze for yourself, where is your mind going to? What is your weakness? And you have been stuck in that weakness for long. Some people have predominant characters: alcoholism, watching porn and stuff online, games, wasting time, or food, or being lazy, whatever. That one predominant thing over your life that has existed over years is your software bug. You need to understand that is my software bug and eliminate that bug like a quality tester and slowly build above it. Catch one. Take one habit or anything that is with you and you think it is not a good habit. Try to slowly control it. Don't go all the way. Most people cannot do that consistently because you have to do this consistently. So what you're doing with these practices is that you are activating the yantra. You as a fighter jet, you're on the hangar, you're laying on the ground. Imagine you're a fighter jet, but a lot of the pieces are just on the floor. With a certain upaasana, certain practice, you're taking one bolt and putting that in. With certain restriction on food, you're putting another wire in. With certain level of brahmacharya, you're putting the other wire in. And you're slowly building this up, and your focus is completely on your yantra. Forget the mantra. Obviously, you have to chant the mantra, but focus inward. That is what focusing inward is. You're trying to figure out, you're scanning yourself constantly. What is this thing that's coming in my mind? Okay, this is the thing. Let me note it down. Okay, is this consistently happening again? Okay, this is one of the software bugs I have. Slowly. And the mantra is what gives you the awareness to this. That is the core foundation of the mantra, is that when you get it from a Siddha Guru, he charges you and you start chanting it. After a few months of chanting, it activates and it gives you this gyan. This gyan is given you to the mantra. That is what I'm telling you right now. So you start activating your yantra through different practices. Choose baby steps, little by little. There's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And the main thing is that you have to do it multiple times. Don't just think you will do it one time, 3 times, you will get somewhere. Opening different doors to divinity is there. It takes a lot of mental work. Okay? And you have to be ready to do the mental work. And it's guaranteed if you follow certain practices, you will open those doors. That's what Tantra is. So Yantra is basically you, going back to the topic, you're activating different energy levels of yourself. So if you are a smoker, I'll give you a basic example. No, you do no sadhana, nothing. You just do basic pujas, whatever, and you're a good person. But you smoke a packet of cigarette a day. So one day you realize, you know what? I'm going to work out, so maybe I should cut down this. I will rein it. And you start smoking 3 cigarettes a day instead of one whole packet. And then the feeling kicks in, some part of that I need to smoke more. But you know, it's okay. I can buy that cigarette anytime I want. I have it. But not today. I'm going to continue slowly towards this path. That is spiritually elevating yourself, because you're rising above. Anything that helps you rise above your basic 5 senses is the core of the spiritual practice. Because what happens then? What then happens is that you start focusing, you get more concentration when you sit and do your japa, because you're disconnecting from your mind. What the whole foundation of all of the practice is to disconnect from your body, disconnect from your mind, and connect to the inner self, which is pure. Am I making sense? That is what this is all about. So do the analysis on yourself. Don't rush into mantras. Understand you are the yantra. First you have to cleanse yourself. That is what cleaning yourself is all about. Cleanse yourself of your little habits and things that are holding you back. Slowly rein it in back. But use a mantra to give you that power. That mantra is your guru. Okay? So that's mantra. Yantra is yourself. Okay? This is breaking down the most basic level. And Tantra is an understanding of these two. When you are in the path of Shakti sadhana, Gyan and Vairagya, I've said this many times, knowledge, understanding, not even knowledge, understanding and dispassion are the 2 biggest things Ma gives you immediately if you're sincere about it. And that's all you need. The understanding of who you are, where you're going wrong, and the dispassion is disconnection from those things, and then your sadhana starts. And at the same time, you develop fearlessness, because if you're nervous about some situation, or you want to eat this, you want to eat that, but you're scared, it's all based on some sort of fear of losing, right? I want to eat this, I feel like it. If I don't eat it, I feel like this. That is also, Ma takes that away from you. She gives you the fearlessness to make the right decisions and being dispassionate. Those 3 are the only siddhis you need in today's world. A lot of us are fighter jets that we don't understand. We have not assembled ourselves and we don't use a fuel. Okay, I think that's good enough of a video. Now in terms of mantras, I'm very cautious about giving mantras because I don't know what it's going to open. Typically, it's better not to approach, unless Ma Kali is your Kuladevi, you should start with some sort of Bhairav sadhana. Why? Not because anything bad's can happen. Ma Kali's nature is that she's ever present. Her energy is so strong, so strong. And if you have the right alignment and you have the right luck, she will come. And we cannot handle her energy at all. Now, even if she's 100 kilometers away from us, we cannot handle her. She's so powerful. But her presence, because she gives jnana and vairagya so fast, it turns things upside down. She clears karma. She bulldozes your way into your life and clears all your karmas in a way, a little bit, to put you in the right path to approaching her, right? And that is upsetting to a lot of people. People get upset when the phone charge goes low. When phone charge is 10%, people get upset. When they lose a job, which is a real thing, but they get so upset by it. When there's a problem, they get so upset by it. So imagine having the Parabrahma, the ultimate, the Veeras among Veeras, the Muktakeshi, Kapalini, Mahaswarup, Mahagora, Mahakali entering your life. 100% of us cannot handle it. We cannot handle it. She's just way too powerful, and it's not her fault. That's her style. That's how she comes, and that's why she's so amazing. But she comes with that much of love that she wants to straighten you immediately. But you got to be ready for it. To get ready for it, you have to do Bhairava sadhanas or multiple sadhanas. So your best approach now is that you're truly interested in Shakti sadhana. You want to explore it. Open your mind and explore it. Durga Saptasati is the best place to go, right? Generally, you need mantra diksha to do Durga Saptasati, but there are siddha mantras in Durga Saptasati. You take Gorakhpur Pras, there are siddha mantras. There are multiple mantras are very famous, which has no bijas, that you can chant multiple times a day and make that as a practice. Do one mala if you want, or chant it 100 times, 108 times if you want, chant it 11 times you want. There are certain mantras that you can chant. And this mantra is slokas, which talks about the Devi. And just take 2 lines of any of the Durga Saptasati Siddhi mantras. It's in the last page of the Gita Press. Take any of those, see which one you like. If you want Vidya, there's one for it. If you want Shakti, there's one for it. And the most powerful mantra of all is a Tantroktam Suktam, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu. That is the most powerful sutra, because that talks about who Ma really is as the Adya Kali form, right? You can look into that and chant it and understand it. As you keep chanting it, right, it takes like 4 or 5 minutes, the whole thing. You will start eventually you start understanding it. To understand Shakti, you have to have Shiva. Otherwise, you're just reading it, whatever you know from the past. To truly start opening that door, you need Shiva's blessing, Mahadev's blessing. So there are multiple Shiva stotrams that you can use. Namah Shivaya is something you can use. You can try to connect to Shiva, Mahadev's energy. Or you can look into Saptasati. You can do Bhairava Sadhana, Om Bhairavaya. There's so many things that you can do to building your foundation towards it. I'm very cautious about what mantra I'm going to give, because I don't know who is going to listen and who is capable of understanding it. But obviously Durga Saptasati is the most important Shakta book. You can chanting to or praying to Mahadev or Bhairav. You can start using some of the slokas, Siddha mantras in the Durga Saptasati, or there are multiple stotras in that you can use and make that as a practice. Okay, there are multiple things online, but take those 2-line stutis. Take any of the 2-line stutis and either do 1-8 malas of that, or start chanting it as many times as possible. Not just when you sit down. Keep chanting it in your mind. Instead of singing songs, sing the stuti in your mind, or just whisper it to yourself. Constantly sing it. The way to connect to Ma is to bring Ma into everything that you do. Let me say this again. The best way, the fastest way to connect to Ma, or for that matter, Mahadev, is to bring him or her to everything that you do. Your karma, whatever you do, you bring into him. You and this is a higher level of mantra sadhana, but I'll share it with you. You take a swarup, a saumya swarup, a nice swarup of Devi or Mahadev. Don't go aggressive if you're a beginner, and constantly think about the aspects of that. Have that as a phone saver. Put that in your favorites folder. Put that on your laptop folder if you want. Or keep the picture somewhere in your house and constantly think about that picture. And when you have a worry, when you're scared, when you have a problem, immediately think about that picture. And you're replacing your fear, your bad habits, everything with the image. Now what happens subconsciously? Subconsciously you're slowly overriding your mind with an image of Ma, or Bhairava, or Mahadev, or Hanumanji, whatever. And your bad habits and your bad thoughts, I'm explaining this as easy as possible. All those, worries and everything transforms slowly into them. So next time when you have a worry, then you immediately think, oh, that image of Hanumanji or Bhairav Baba. Oh, okay. Ghadag of Ma, or Bhairav's Kapar. You think that. And then suddenly you understand in a few weeks, you're like, oh, I don't feel it the same way anymore. I don't feel the worry the same. The worry is the problems are there, but it doesn't hit you so hard because your subconscious mind is twisted into something else, into much more powerful. And that really helps you when you do your sadhanas and practice. This is an innate way. This is a very intense way of getting closer to your Ishta or any deity you're trying to get close to. Okay? So do those simple things. Start slowly. Don't read too much. Don't listen to stutis and stuff like that. And if you are inclined to Ma Kali, I would say slowly start. Okay? Ma Kali's Adya Stotram is extremely powerful. You can Google it anywhere. It has no bija mantras on. It has so much blessing. It acts as a kavach as well. You can chant that multiple times. That is a beautiful stuti, and Ma loves that stuti. Ma said that anybody who chants this to me, I'm very pleased. She is very pleased with Adya Stotram. And chant that with some affection to it, because it talks about all her Swarup, not just one Swarup. And because she is Adya Shakti, my Ma's Adya Shakti, Param Shakti. So I think I shared a lot of stuff right now. Ask questions. Again, the whole thing is about starting the first step, not jumping into 10 different topics and exploring different things, and because you'll end up reaching nowhere. It's a GPS. This is a GPS. This is a starting point. Instead of opening 3 different locations and thinking you'll reach one destination. That's what reading and thinking too much does to you. Start doing the push-ups. Start the practice. Start the practice. Even if it's not ideal for you, there are problems in your life, whatever. Start at least 10 minutes of practice, and during that 10 minutes, tell yourself, I'm just going to do this for 10 minutes and I'm going to focus as much as I can. Okay? And start the practice. I hope this helps. Jai Kal Bhairav. Jai Ma Kali. Jai Ma Kali.